Oh, yeah. Baby, 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 boo. Dear, dear diarrhea full of shit. Just play along with myself and no one else. Yo, I'm so legit. David Empty the Weenie is back on YouTube. Fucking A, man. Cool. It's a different name for those Katie Boo you don't know. But he was a dude I used to listen to for a long time. He's really smart and really articulate. He uses fancy words. He's got style. He's smoking a cigarette and got a usually, at least he used to, always had a drink with him, like hard liquor, so he'd bring it up and the ice would clank, and it was just classy. He's got this look, of like, kind of looks like evil, kind of like a cult leader. At least the one I just saw. So that's pretty cool. I'll get caught up and start watching his shit again because he always had some interesting shit to say. Some of it was kind of, but I'll just leave it at that. But him and Cool Breeze, I don't know if they were friends in real life or just on the internet or met before. Because I know Teddy Puppy Petit, aka Lurch, just put a lost and found bin Goodwill rugby shirt on him and a beer in either hand. Need to check him out. I guess someone nuked his channel and it's like, you fucking this guy still, talks to people who are still in, and yeah, I think they could probably, find you and make things very difficult for you if they really wanted to, and I hope they do. Like I said, if I were Lurch, I'd set it up. They'd go open their email one day and it'd just be my face. Because he has this one where he's like smiling and he's holding a beer. And that's it. Just, simple. Don't even, like that movie, The Godfather or whatever, where he wakes up with the horse head in his bed or whatever, or don't even do that. Just, that's just me, you know what I mean? Instead of actually, I think that's better. It's like, are we doing this? I could do this. You know what I mean? I think that's better than actually, you know what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Because once if it's done, it's done. Oh, my horse is dead. But if you're like, I could, not that the horse deserves that, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I could wreck shit. Should I? Because then he's always, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Versus if it's done, we're like, fuck it. Well, now it's war, versus, okay, oh shit, so. But anyway, that's funny. I wonder how long his stuff's been back. The algorithm must have threw that up somehow. I haven't mentioned that. Anyway, Mr. Gorilla, I put a couple new videos from him in the Weak People Make Hard Times, where he's talking about runaway AI. And you got to break a few eggs to make omelets and all that shit. Yeah, he makes a good point. So, sweet Katie Boo, you got that vein sticking out your forehead again. You don't handle stress very well, do you? So, because this ASMR, it's supposed to be like relaxing for you. I think for a lot of creators, making ASMR is a relaxing process for them. Um, kind of like a lot of YouTube content creators making their videos is like, I think the word is cathartic. It's like a release. It's almost like therapy. It's not for me. That's not why I do them. I do them just because I'm stupid. Anyway, poor little lamb. Come here. Let's cuddle. Sleep it off. What's wrong? You want to talk back? Is there something I can help you with? Offer advice? Or is it me? I don't mean that in an arrogant sense. But this whole, and you're probably kind of stressed out about, or maybe not, but Mrs. Butthead, you know. Well, that's kind of a difficult situation, okay? She's married. I wouldn't mind being her friend's boyfriend, and maybe, baby, even her hubby bear. But, right, oh yeah. I'm sure she's a traditional girl. Quit wasting our fucking time. Ooh, sass. Put that ass on me. But, you own a business, right? That whole vagina waxing thing. I'm a lowly, equipment operator. Well, for now, I'm going to be, running a machine. But I've talked about that before. It turns out I'm going to be doing all kinds of shit, and I like that. But yeah, I'll be running, bulldozers and excavators, and, this is like, yeah. And I probably still make twice as much as you. Yep. Good deal, Lucille. And I told the guy I work with, I said, hey, because my boss told me that. It's not like I'm trying to poach him or steal him. I told, Mr. ADHD the same thing, you got to do for self. But he's really loyal to like all of those guys. So, just let him know, give him some time and find a replacement. Because what he does, Mr. Insecure, he can run that site by himself. It's just a pain in the ass, but it's not like production has to stop. That machine is simple enough, where, when I say pushing buttons and levers and stuff, it's not like he has to be up there controlling stuff. You pretty much just set shit, and then occasionally you got to shit off, and you got to recheck shit to make sure the RPMs haven't changed. He can do that. He's done it before. So, Mr. ADHD, and I mean that respectfully, but but then I do the same thing. I'll be walking by, and just out of the blue, I'll be like, hey, you want to see my impression of a square? And I'll hold my hands out and put them down. Or I said, you want to see my impression of a telephone pole? And I just shot my hands up in the air. I said, you want to see my impression of a piece of string cheese? Shot my hands up in the air. And then, later I did, hey, you want to see my impression of a square? Arms out, out, down. You want to see my impression of a Y? Put my hands up, like a Y. Want to see my impression of an M? And put them down, kind of out to the, so just out of the blue, just as I'm walking by, so I guess I'm better. So I had some pallets, the sides in either one of my hands, and I was walking by because we were breaking them down to throw them in a dumpster. And I just like went past them like I was skiing, just, but, so. But my stuff's funny, His stuff is not, he's just up there, hey, It's like, good God, man. But oh, anyway. Um, what did I say? I found something. Oh man, it was something. Oh, it's something package, and this is like in front of everybody. This is over at the other side. I said, "Do you use this so the females, the girls think you're not female?" Or I don't remember what I said. And then I told what's his name. I'm like, we rip on each other all the time. And he's like, hey, yeah, you got to have fun at work. So sometimes I do a little bit with Bitch Boy. It just depends. You know what I mean? Different strokes for different folks. But I don't know. Sometimes. Oh, anyway. Oh, shit. I said that with my boss, and he got offended. And I told him that. I've said, like blah, 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 just kind of over the years, if I'm still here, if I don't screw up or piss you off, well, I pissed him off. And it was really kind of, I didn't know it, but I locked my keys in the car because I'm a dumbass. And he walked in and he said, hey, what are you doing? I said, oh, if I was an overachiever, I'd be out shoveling right now, but instead I'm sitting in an air-conditioned trailer. I locked my keys in the car. And when I went in and told him, that I was, thinking about, getting another job and all that, which he was totally cool with, everything's honest and upfront. But that had came up somehow. I don't remember. But he saw that comment you made a few weeks ago. That didn't sit right with me. You may have been joking, and I said, yeah, I was. I have a dark sense of humor. But I thought, good God, man. Shit. That's bad. Honestly. Lighten up. But, not a good thing to say to your boss. Oh, shit. Note to self. Boss does not have sense of humor. At all. So that kind of sideswiped me. It's like, honestly, man, shit. Goose Fraba. From that movie, Anger Management. That Eskimo saying, chill. Anyway, whatever. But, yeah. Today I woke up at 6. So it's kind of like normally, how I'd be going to work. I'd be, driving to work right now. Or whatever time it is, because I would get up at 6. Usually hump my pillow a little bit. I may or may not, ejaculate. Because sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. For like, 20 minutes and, then get up and, shit and, get dressed and go to work. Because I shower in the evening, because I'm dirty and sweaty, and it'll be the same way with this company. But on Monday I start, MSHA training. I forget what it stands for. Minor Safety Health Administration or something like that. It's like OSHA, only it's like specific for minors and, quarry type stuff. Because there's stuff you have to be aware of in that type of environment. The dirt, collapses and don't drive next to this wall, and shit like that. Which it's kind of common sense, but you know, you need to be reminded of it and all that stuff. It's enforced, you know, so if they show up and, you know, you're wheeling around in your loader and you're not wearing your seatbelt, you know, that's like, it's a hefty fine. I think it might even be like $1,000. They do not fuck around with that shit. So, you know, hard hat, safety glasses, all that stuff. And like I said, I'm geared out to the hilt. You know, I got everything, you know, my safety glasses in my little pouch, you know. You know, the goggles, if the wind starts blowing, you know, those are around my neck. You know, the hard hat with the sunshade. You know, the ear muffs. And I just move them forward, you know, if I'm not using them. And, you know, the forearm protector things, and you know, I'm geared out to the hilt, you know, so when it comes to PPE, that'd be me. So and like I said, you know, sometimes when the wind started blowing, at least at that other site, I mean, sometimes you couldn't see. You had to just stop, hang on to something, sit down, and just let it blow over. So in that case, you know, you want to put your goggles on, put your, you know, N95 mask on so you're not breathing that shit, and put your earmuffs on so it's not going in your eyes, nose, mouth, and ears. And you just have to keep that with you all the time, you know, in case a fucking, you know, micro burst, you know, windstorm comes up. So, anyway, I guess that's all I gotta say, baby. Hey, 16, 17 minutes. Sweet Katie Boo. Oh yeah, this is Butthead. So she's like a selfish bitch, right? She's married. You know, because like I said, that's what she does. You know, like she was dating Puss Boy. She's like, you know what? Let's just do this. You know, you're a pathetic bitch, shell of a boy, not even a man. But he was alive. He had a dick, probably thin and crooked and upside down. But you know, that's how that works. You know, it's like shameful. You know, if girls like are single, and if they get the tingles, you know, they, you know, pleasure themselves or whatever. It's like a chick is supposed to be in a relationship. You know, it's how that works. It's shameful if she's not. Dudes don't care. Nobody cares. And it's not like shameful for the dude. So, oh, maybe he'll be accused of being an incel, or maybe he is one or whatever, but that's really not the end of the world. A guy can be single and still be like respected and, you know, a member of the community. If a chick is single, you know, people are like, what's her deal? What's wrong with her? Why doesn't she have a man? You know? It's easy to be a dude, in my opinion. And like I said, you know, at any time, you know, the window that chicks have, you know, in their 30s, well, 20s and into like mid 30s, they don't even start taking dudes serious until they're, you know, that age. They've got money, they're established, they're wiser to the ways of the world. They've been thumped a few times, you know, they fell on their ass, they've had some wins, they've had some losses, they're like experienced. Chicks are still just dumb and all up in their feelings. Well, not necessarily. Especially you got girls like Kleeberry, you know. And she's probably dated some silly boys, you know, who were thirsty and shit. Mrs. Butthead, well, she's a different deal. But she's, you know, like, I can only imagine. And I can, because I'm different. I can do that. Anybody else? I can only imagine those two having sex. That would be weird. But me? I'm not saying I do, but I'm special. So, like I said, the troll. Oh, every time I rolled up to that guard shack, I just, things that make you go, oh. Give me 1 minute. I gotta go vomit. But, whew. And, anyway, so that's what she does. She's like, hey, we're dating. You and me, we're dating. She has no standards. There's no bottom with her. And now she's with the Gweed. I hyped him up. Fuck that chump. We're done playing put Mr. Gweed on a pedestal. He's a bitch. He's a bitch. He's probably some former special forces guy or something. I don't know. He's probably, I don't know. Maybe he's a lawyer. Who knows? He's still a bitch. But no. You don't smile like that. That says it all. Shit. Get control of yourself, man. But anyway, damn, this is turned into a thing here. But Katie Boo, look, it's a weird deal because I wouldn't mind. It wouldn't hurt my feelings, sexing up her friend. Okay. Or allowing her to sex me up. And I'll put it down. All that. But the, hoes before bros, she's respecting that. Maybe she's not interested. Maybe she's like, silly ass, equipment operator. I don't care how big your front end loader is. How much dirt does your bucket hold? How many stairs do you have to climb up to get into the cab? Ooh. Maybe she doesn't care. But, it's a fucked up deal. So it just is what it is. Okay, Mrs. Butthead is a selfish bitch. She's married, for crying out loud. I don't know if she secretly thinks, she's gonna divorce him or something, but she'll be cool about it. It's like, you take what's yours. I'm just gonna go live out my dream with my dream boy. Okay, I had to marry you because it's like, you were Plan B, right? I was with Plan B, but I'm still working on Plan A. Okay, so, I don't know. But Kleber, is just like, okay, cool, So, that whole situation, even though, they're right over there, that direction, they're like a 45-minute drive, and I could be at her house, rubbing my dick on her. I was talking about Kleber. It's you know what I mean? It's just, hoes before bros. Maybe we could have a threesome. I don't know. Mrs. Butthead isn't that bad. She's got those ears, But, anyway, I get it. Things are kind of really stressful for you because I'm your dream boy, I'm probably Kleber's dream boy, too. It's just she's, or maybe not, Maybe Kleber is like, you know what, you're not my type. Oh. Well, fuck you too, whore. I hate you. So, anyway. Have a good day. Oh, yeah, when I was driving up, never mind, it's only 6 o'clock. I was driving up at like 9:30. It was just like old times because that's like what time I left to work. When I worked for Walmart. Save money a little better. Yeah. So when you go to Walmart, do you think of me now? Because you're head over heels in love with me. Oh, shit. I'm sorry, Katie Boo. I can't help it. I'm sorry you're stressing out. You're at the end of your rope. You're like, is this real? Is this not? Is this real? Is this not? Why don't you pull a Mrs. Butthead and hook up with a Plan B? I can't help it that I'm fucking amazing, excruciatingly sexy, and fucking all that in a bag of chips, and I'm a shining, bundle of macho manliness. I can't help it, I got big manly paws, and I just I exude strength and confidence, and I walk in every room I walk into, I command, men want to be me, women want to be with me, and kids want me to be their dad. I can't help it. I can't help it. It's just who I am. Like I said, I'm an Alpha Sigma Turkey Salamander Commander Frog Nugget bitch. I can't help these things. Put your butt on me, sexy zebra mama. I think it's sexy zebra mama playtime. They even look like zebras.